What is going on, everybody? It's Grayson from Straw Hat Speculator. Welcome back to the channel. Today, we're doing the midweek market update. We're going to look at sealed product, singles and slabs between $100 and $1,000 on eBay. Before we get into the video, guys, two things I want to say. First off, I am a little bit sick, so if my voice is off, if you hear a little bit of sniffling in the video, bear with me, guys. I feel like I'm kind of burning myself out right now, and also just traveling is hard on my body. So I am trying to push through because there are some awesome videos I want to bring you guys. But that's the first thing. I appreciate you guys bearing with me. And then also the second thing, which is more important, far more important. A lot of the other top creators, I would say, in this space, in the One Piece investing space, I watch your guys' channels. I know you watch my channel. And I know there's been a huge influx of people coming into this hobby. They're looking to make money. And a couple of you guys have voiced your displeasure with that. You're clearly gatekeeping, saying that if you don't know anything about the hobby, you shouldn't be investing in it, blah, blah, blah. Guys, first off, just a piece of advice. Don't insult the people that you're trying to get to watch your videos. That just makes zero sense to me. Like, people overtly having zero respect for your audience is something that I'm always gonna find funny. But then the second thing too is like, saying that it's never been about the money for you, but then all you do in your videos is bring up TCG player charts, talk about the price increases, talk about how your cards have gone up like 20, 25%. I just think it's corny. If you're here for the money, that's great, right? Like, this is an investing channel. I think that's fine. I think everybody's welcome. And then also, if you are here, you're new here, whatever, I do think that you should pay a little bit of attention to One Piece because it's an awesome IP. I've really enjoyed learning a lot about the IP over the past 8 months. But even if you're not planning to do that, I think it's absolutely fine. Just do you. Don't pay attention to the gatekeepers because there are a ton of them in the One Piece hobby. So getting into the video, starting off with sealed product as always, we have an OPO7 booster box here, $178. It looks like these are up to around $200 on TCG Player. Kind of insane, in my opinion. I really don't think it's a great set, but hey, people are seeing the value. They want to pump it up. That's awesome. You guys do you. OPO9, $360 for a booster box on eBay. I actually saw on TCG Player today, these cracked $300 for like $300.20 currently. That could change over the next 24 hours or so, but this box continuing to move up. Absolutely no surprise there. OPO5, Awakening the New Era. If you go look on TCG Player, I believe there's maybe one sale that cracked $600 today, or they're right there at like $595, $600 USD. So crazy. These boxes continuing to move up in price. You guys know I'm a huge fan of Gear 5 Luffy, and then also having that Ichiro Oda stamped card in the set is just an amazing addition to what is an amazing top manga chase. EBO1, $625. These are going for like $700 on TCG Player now. I still don't think it's that great of a set. I still don't think in the future it's going to have a super high ROI. A lot of what we've seen is based on scarcity, and that could continue, but I think at this point, there are probably better places to put your money. Again, if you disagree, absolutely feel free to buy the set. Second anniversary set here, $680. This is the English version. You will see, I believe, 1 or 2 cards from the second anniversary set, and also a couple from the first anniversary set coming up here later in the video. And then PRBL1, $736 for a sealed booster box. These are going for $750 all day long on TCG Player now. I still think you should get some exposure to PRBL1 even at this current price. Now moving into the cards, we're starting off, we have the Silver's Rayleigh BGS 10. This is from OP12, Legacy of the Master. This went for $105.50 USD. After that, we're going to see a Boa Hancock Leader. This is from OPO7, 500 years in the future. BGS 9.5, $124.50 through Quick Consign. Then we have a Rosinante. This is from OP12 as well. BGS 10, $125.50. I really do love these OP12 alt leader cards. I think they look awesome. We have a VV here, pre-release winner card. This went for $140 USD. Then after that, we do have a Gum Gum Fire Fist Pistol Red Hawk PSA 10. This is from OP11, the alt art, $141.50. And then we have a Doflamingo Wanted poster. This is from the Pillars of Strength set, OPO3. That was the set with the original Wanted posters. $144.50 USD. I think you're going to see actually a couple more Dofi cards showing up on this week's list. A lot of these older ones were selling over the past couple days. Now, before we go any further, I did just want to jump in here and say, if you guys are getting some value out of the video, I'd really appreciate if you leave a like, subscribe to the channel. It helps out a ton getting these videos pushed out to more people. Also, we have the market spreadsheet at the top of the description as always if you're looking to take your investing more seriously. And I do have consult calls if you guys need extra help, building connections in the hobby, buying, selling, storing product. I can help you with all of that. Now, moving on, speaking of Doflamingo, we have the SP. This is from OP07, PSA 10, $145. I think raw, this card is $50. It may have been pumped over the past week. I should probably go double check because maybe it's like $70, $80 now, but still a fairly cheap PSA 10 SP. We also have a Kaido SP here. This is from OP05 in English, $157.50. That seems extremely high for the Kaido SP from OP05, considering it's one of the cheaper ones in that set. But hey, auctions are auctions. We have the Treasure Rare Sanji. This is from OP12 in English, $199.50 in a PSA 10. We also have the Nico Robin from OP12 alternate art PSA 10, $205.50. So a ton of OP12 cards showing up on the list early this week. Zorojuro again from OP12, $222.50 raw. I think this is an amazing card. I really do love the colors on this, and a lot of the other OP12 SPs I do enjoy. We have a Trafalgar Law here. This is an SP from Kingdoms of Intrigue. This in a BGS 10 sold for 201 euros, which is approximately $233.66 USD. Then after that, we have the Boof Burst. This is from OP12 Legacy of the Master, BGS 10 here, $255 USD. Then we have the Nami from Tournament Pack Volume 3, $255 again in a PSA 10. You can see here, we're at a very high pop count on this card, all things considered, 1,310 PSA 10s, 1,498 total pop. So not the highest, but still, I think for a one-piece card, that is kind of getting up there, and you can see it is reflected in the price. It's not a super expensive card. Yamato SP from OP05, the second one from OP05 showing up today, $270 USD in a 10, and you can see here another fairly high pop count, 1,345 10s, 1,429 total population. Rob Lucci, this is a special from EBO2, $281.70 USD. PSA 10 pop is 11, total pop is 12. We don't see a ton of these EBO2 cards get graded, and for that reason, some of them actually have a fairly high PSA 10 multiple. For example, the Boa Hancock, I think was going for like $2,000, $1,600, something like that in a 10. I think we've seen the Jewelry Bonnie sell. I believe the Luffy is going to show up as well later on in this video. So some of them are worth a decent chunk of change in a 10. Gear 2 here, the alt art from OP11, $290. I think at one point this was like $350 US. I've seen multiple sales this week around $290, $295 USD. So I think that's kind of pulled back a little bit in price. Then we have the Ace SP. This is from OP12. So again, another OP12 card showing up on the list, $290 USD in a PSA 10. I wouldn't be surprised if there's still room for this card to grow over the next 12 months. I could easily see this being like a $350, $400 USD card in a 10. Maybe not in the short term, but long term, I am very bullish on it. Then we have the Sanji SP OP11, $306.99. Also, the Card Hive, I do want to point this out. They only have 59 feedback, but they sold a lot of one-piece cards this week on auction through eBay. So maybe we keep an eye on them. Also, I haven't mentioned this, but Probstein is back on eBay. So we will unfortunately see some Probstein sales, whether it's in this video or in future videos. It's just bound to happen. So be prepared for that if you guys are Probstein haters. Gear 5 Luffy, alternate art. This is from OP05. PSA 10, $315. A very high PSA 10 pop here, 2,475. Total pop, 2,717. The Whitebeard SP, Edward Newgate. This is from Royal Blood. You guys know this is one of my favorite cards, if not my favorite card that Bandai has put out. PSA 10 now up to $350. I think it could eventually push 400 plus in a 10. I really love this card. I think it's great. There are going to be so many collectors who do want to get this. And then also, considering Paramount War OP16 is going to be coming out, if we do end up getting an Edward Newgate manga card in that set, some cards like this will probably end up seeing a bump. Treasure Rare Nami here. This is from OP06, I believe. Wings of the Captain, yep. And this went for $365 in a PSA 10. I also saw another one sell $360, so fairly consistently it is in this range. Then after that, we have Cross Guild. This is, again, one of my favorite cards that Bandai has released so far. I'm a huge Buggy fan. I think the colors are awesome. $375 in a 10. PSA 10 pop is only 6 currently. Total pop is 7. This will go up as time goes on. PRBO2 is still a fairly new set. It released right before OP13, so I do imagine in the future we're going to see this push into the 50, 100 range, and then with time, it'll probably be even higher than that. Another one of these manga event rare cards. This is the Demonora 9-sword style Asura Blades Drawn Dead Man's Game. Guys, I swear I'm getting really good at saying that. I don't even have to do a cut and edit it like 5 times. And it's probably one of the stupidest things, but I'm so proud that I can actually get that out now, basically every single time. So $392 here in a BGS 10 pristine, so not the black label. I think the PSA 10s we're seeing go for what, like 330-ish. So there still is a little bit of a premium on those BGS 10s. Gecko Moria here, again, one of those EBO2 special cards. PSA 10, 395 US. You can see the PSA 10 pop is 6, total pop is 7. So just not a ton of those out there. After that, we have the Uta SP, the third SP, I believe, from OP05 this week. $396 in a PSA 10, trying her best to catch up to the Nami. Portgas Diaz, another SP. This is from Two Legends, OP08. 344 euros. This is actually a massive sale, which is approximately $399.90 USD. So almost $400 USD. You can see here PSA 10 pop, 934, total pop 1018. Then we have another Dofi showing up. This is the alternate art leader from Romance Dawn. This in a PSA 10 went for $400 USD. I also think there's going to be one more Romance Dawn card showing up. Maybe it's the Nami. I guess you guys are going to have to wait and see. After that, we have a Laboon. This is a Treasure Cup Top 64 prize card. $400 USD in a PSA 9. And you can see here the PSA 9 pop is 2 and the total pop is 15. So just not a ton of copies of this card out there. And that's why it is worth $400 USD. This also sold directly from the PSA vault. Then we have the Shanks Wanted poster, OP09, PSA 10, $401 USD, again sold by the Card Hive. And you can see here, PSA 10 pop surprisingly high for these Wanted posters. I really didn't expect these many to be graded. 1,036 in a 10, 1,126 total pop. We have the Nami from the first anniversary English set, $408.03. I believe we're going to see the Chopper right after that in a PSA 10, $410. So still a little bit more expensive than the Nami. And I think the Luffy will be showing up here in a minute. And you can see here PSA 10 pop, 479, total pop 503. So a very, very high gem rate on that Chopper. Nami, this is the alternate art from OP03, $413 USD. I said multiple times, I'm not really a huge fan of this artwork, this art style. It's just not my favorite, but hey, it's a Nami card, so people will be all over it right now, especially considering what some of the Nami SPs have been doing. We have a Perona here. This is from the CS Top Player Pack Volume 2, $421 USD in a PSA 10. PSA 10 pop is 10 also, by the way, and the total pop is 10. So 100% gem rate on this card. I think this is the first time we've actually seen this show up, and considering it's fairly rare, that kind of makes sense. And following that up, we have a Zoro Juro. This is from OP09. This is graded from a company I've never seen before. Degree, I think is what they're called. It's a Degree 10. I think that whoever's buying this, they're probably just assuming that this could maybe get a PSA 10. I know nothing about this company, so if they're new, if they're old, if you guys have more information, definitely feel free to share it down below and educate us, less educated folks. Trafalgar Law here. This again is one of those CS Event Pack finalist cards, $440 USD. Total pop on this is 4. PSA 10 pop is 4, so again, 100% gem right there. Following that up though, we have the Luffy Treasure Rare. This is from Two Legends, $445 in a PSA 10. I think that's been fairly consistent for the past couple weeks. We had an Ace SP here, the wanted poster from OP13. I did want to throw this in here because it sold fairly cheap, $451 USD approximately. I do believe that has to do with the top back of the card having a couple white spots on the left side, and then also the corner right side. You can see there some imperfection. So definitely not going to get a PSA 10. Onami here, raw, $535.95. Massive sale considering we were seeing this card in a PSA 10 sell for like $540 not too long ago. I wouldn't be surprised if this eventually gets up to $1,000 in a 10. It just kind of seems like it is headed that way. We have Zoro here. This is the alt art leader from Romance Dawn. I don't believe this is the pre-errata version. $560 USD. Somebody can correct me if I'm wrong. Let's bring up the text there for you guys to check. And then after that, we have the Luffy wanted poster. This is from OP09, the Gear 5 one. BGS 9.5. So I think that's fairly equivalent to like a raw price and maybe a PSA 10 price. I think those are fairly similar, even though I did say, I think at this point, maybe the PSA 10s are worth a little bit more than the BGS 9.5s. Either way, 491 euros. That's approximately $571 USD. This was coming from Slap Auction, and I believe they are out of Germany. Then we have the Luffy first anniversary English set, PSA 10, $610. This is one of those cards, even though it's not showing the pop report here, I think it's the lowest gem rate out of all of the first anniversary set English cards. It's around 75% if I remember correctly. And really, when you look at the PSA 10 of this, you look at the PSA 10 Chopper, the Nami, all the other cards in there, you kind of have to assume that the first anniversary English set, the sealed box, should be worth more than $1,000 because it just seems like you could still be buying that at $1,000, paying your grading fees, getting mainly 10s, and then just flipping all the cards and still having some EV left over. So I do expect that first anniversary set to continue moving up in price. It doesn't seem likely that we're going to see the cards come down, at least not in the short term. And following up the first anniversary English Luffy, we also have the second anniversary English Luffy here, $680 in a PSA 10. And it looks like the gem rate is probably higher on this, 266 PSA 10s, 302 total pop. So considering that, if we go back here and look at the second anniversary set, wherever it sold, $680, you're basically paying the exact same price if you want to pick up this Luffy. So considering the gem rate on it, kind of seems like a no-brainer almost if you can get it at that price. Now moving on, we have a raw copy of the Marshall D Teach. This is the silver version from OP12, $685.02 USD. We also have a Japanese Charlotte Pudding SP from Two Legends, BGS 10 Black Label, $700 USD, a massive sale. I know it is the Japanese version. I imagine it's probably a fairly low pop card, and I am curious to know what happened with this auction just because there's only one bid for $700 USD. So I'm curious to know if the seller had like an initial bid price, but they also had a buy it now price. Because when that happens, if someone just buys it now, like they select to pay full price essentially on the card right out the gate instead of trying to win it at auction for less, I believe that still counts as an auction. And maybe that's what happened here. Like maybe this is undervalued and someone just scooped it up at a decent price. But I guess it could also be the case that somebody just was the only bidder on it. So if you know more information, definitely feel free to share again in the comments. The Roronoa Zoro here, PSA 10, this is the 3-on-3 Treasure Cup top prize card. This went for $700 USD. These were going for like $550 USD for a very long period of time. You're also going to see the BGS 10 copy showing up here in a moment, and that's just gonna illustrate the difference between PSA 10 and BGS 10 pricing. But before that, we have the Kid manga. This is the PRBO1 reprint. This went for $810 in a PSA 10, which seems kind of cheap if we're seeing an English manga sub $1,000 at this point. Then we have the Nami here. This is the pre-errata version, BGS 9.5 in English, 705 euros, which is approximately $819 USD. And then you can see here, we have the Zorro again, the 3-on-3 Cup top prize card. BGS 10 though, $830 USD. So almost 20% higher for the BGS 10 copy, non-black label, compared to the PSA 10. Then we have the Luffy here, another one of those special cards from EBO2, $840 USD. PSA 10 pop is 18, total pop is 20. So still a very low pop card, decently high gem rate, and decently high price tag attached to it. SP Nami, it wouldn't be one of these midweek market updates without this card showing up. 727 euros for a BGS 10. That's approximately $845. Seems kind of cheap actually, considering where we saw the recent sale on TCG Player go for. But I believe this was coming out of Europe, so kind of makes sense at the same time. The European market historically has had cheaper prices and also tends to lag, right? Like if things are moving in North America, it might take a month or two for the European market to catch up as people start to buy out those cards. A massive sale here though. This is actually a really exciting one to show you guys. This is the Miss All Sunday from OPO6. BGS 10 black label in English, $1,225 Canadian. That's approximately $877 USD. When I was looking at this, it kind of seemed low to me, especially considering the Miss All Sunday has been moving on TCG Player over the past week. And by the way, this is just a little bit of an aside, but I do think people should be paying attention to the BGS 10 black label copies of a lot of these SPs. It seems like the cat's out the bag when it comes to SPs. People know about them. They're buying up a lot of the raw copies, grading them, and then trying to sell them for basically double what they paid for the raw copy. But I think the black labels for some of these, they're probably still fairly low pop, and you might see some people try and corner the market on some of the more desirable ones like the Nami from 09, maybe the Boa Hancock from 09, maybe something even like this, the Miss All Sunday Nico Robin from Wings of the Captain. And then a couple more cards here. Silver Israeli PSA 10. This is the Two Legends manga, $908 USD. We also have the Gum Gum Giant alternate art. This is from PRB02, $910 in a PSA 10. You can see here, PSA 10 pop is 30, total pop is 39. So that's only a little bit above 75% gem rate on this card. If that continues, this may have a decently high multiple when it comes to the PSA 10 versus the raw price. So definitely keep an eye on that. It might be something that plays a little bit larger of a role in the PRBO2 market price of the booster box than some people are currently believing it will be. We also have the Boa Hancock SP here, OPO9. Again, no surprise. It's not really a midweek update if this doesn't show up. $961. This has been sitting around $1,000 for a fairly long period of time. And the gem rate is actually decently high, 944 PSA 10, 1008 total pop. I think that this is probably the most desirable Boa Hancock SP that's out so far in English, but I do think that the EBO3 SP of Boa Hancock is going to be intriguing to see where that ultimately ends up as well. And then the final card on the list this week, we have the Luffy. This is from the pre-release starter deck. And this in a BGS 10 pristine went for 855 euros, which is approximately $993.94 USD. I think we've seen this up to like 1.3K in a, was it PSA 10 or BGS 10? Either way, this is a little bit cheaper. Definitely not an all-time high, but still a very expensive copy of the card. So that's really all I wanted to get to in this video. You guys let me know in the comments down below what was your favorite auction of the week. Also, if you made it this far in the video, I'd really appreciate a like, subscribe to the channel. It does help me out a ton. I appreciate you guys getting this channel to 7.1K subs. Again, you know, I'm just a guy making videos, so without you guys watching the videos, supporting the channel, I would be absolutely nowhere. And again, market spreadsheet there if you're interested, consult calls as well, affiliate links if you're shopping on all the major platforms. So with all that said, thank you guys so much for watching the video. I hope you're having a great week. Stay safe wherever you are in the world, and I'll catch you in the next one.